Hi everyone, Patek here. Today's video will be a book review, but first of all, please take a look at my video because there is no more black bar. Yes, finally, it only took me 5 months until I realized that I can actually remove them from my videos. And secondly, I want to say Happy Lunar New Year to all of you who celebrate like me. I hope this year will bring you a lot of health, wealth, and happiness. As for today's video, it will be a book review of Dreams of the Dying by Nicholas Liezhou. I have to do a book review on this book as well on this channel because, wow, it was amazing. This is a new masterpiece. It is a cliche to say this, but it is seriously one of the best books that I've ever read. Dreams of the Dying is the biggest production value I've ever seen being given to self-published books. It's definitely up there with Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer, especially for a non-Kickstarter campaign book. In fact, the production value of this novel actually overshadowed a lot of traditionally published books. I'm not kidding. If you decide to buy this book, but somehow you never gotten around to reading it, it would actually work well as a luxurious product on your bookshelves. But I will elaborate more on this later. Here's the thing. Dreams of the Dying. When I first got a review request from the author, I accepted it even though my TBR pile was so insanely huge. You know me, how could I resist after looking at this cover art? It's so beautiful. And you know what? I'm super glad that I accepted this review request because this was just amazing. And this book was so good that I honestly won't accept any words of gratitude from the author himself for me posting this review because I should be the one thanking him for giving me the chance to read and review this book. This is just fantastic. Dreams of the Dying is the first book in Endural series by Nicholas Liezhou, and it revolves around Jaspar Dalvarek. Years after a harrowing war experience, Jaspar has taken to drifting. Excluding the occasional moments of melancholia, he tells himself that life is alright. Hoping to turn the page, Jaspar accepts a mysterious invitation into the beautiful and dangerous archipelago of Kilai. Kilai is on the brink of civil war, and Janus Unai, Kilai's merchant king, may be the only one able to prevent this catastrophe, but he has fallen into a preternatural coma. It is Jaspar's job to figure out the mystery behind this, but little did he know that this investigation and the king's nightmares will require him to face his past and trauma. Battling all trauma while fighting for his life, sanity, and the fate of Kilai, the line between dream and reality blurs further and further, until only one question remains. If your mind is the enemy, where do you run? Remember this line. It is one of the most integral themes of the entire book. Although battles, war, and post-pounding scenes indeed exist in Dreams of the Dying, I want you to know that this isn't a battle-centered novel. Liezhou steers the majority of the narrative in the novel towards the psychological aspect, and they were exceptional. Dreams of the Dying is an incredibly character-driven, my favorite type of story, novel, and with his characters, Liezhou tackles a lot of difficult and resonating issues such as mental illness, redemption, trauma, love, power, ambition, poverty, and wealth. In popular pop culture, Dreams of the Dying can probably be defined as a more insane version of Inception. However, this is an oversimplification. There is so much more to this novel. Madness, love, friendship, dreams, the rise to power, and how ascendancy to a higher status corrupts a good intention in an individual was executed with utter finesse. Liezhou deserves a standing ovation for the wonderful characterizations he successfully implemented into the characters here. Jaspar, the man, Lysia, Kau, Agam, and so many more were totally compelling characters. They're flawed, complex, morally grey, and the characterizations given to them were nothing short of outstanding. We really get to see their emotions laid bare and raw. This was especially true for the two main POV characters, Jaspar and the man. I am in awe at what Liezhou achieved here with these two characters. Jaspar and the man did questionable actions, but I never once felt like they were acting out of their personality. Most importantly, I understood them. The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson is one of the best series I've ever read, and among many things, Sanderson's handling of depression and mental illness in his books was one of the reasons why. I truly believe that Dreams of the Dying contains the best exploration on depression and melancholia that I've read since the Stormlight Archive. Yes, it is that good. As I mentioned earlier, the entire story is told exclusively through Jaspar and the man's perspective. It is true that Jaspar's POV chapters filled the majority of the novel, and they are indeed excellent, but I do honestly believe that Liezhou displayed an immensely admirable talent in his characterizations further with the interludes chapters, which is the man's POV chapters. I think it's quite clear who the man is from his first few chapters, but for the sake of keeping this review spoiler-free, I'm going to keep referring to this character as the man. It's not an exaggeration for me to say that the interludes in Dreams of the Dying are some of the best relatively short chapters I've ever witnessed. They're highly effective and efficient in giving all the necessary details and characterizations to the man. I was immediately hooked and absorbed right from his first chapter, and seeing his character development that's enhanced by what we've learned through Jaspar's POV just fascinated me so much. He's one of the most well-written anti-heroes, if you can call him that I've ever read in speculative fiction. I love to hate his character, but I also cannot help but be completely manipulated into being transfixed by his actions and charisma. Everything about his story was dark, visceral, and marvelous. I have no doubt that grimdark fantasy enthusiasts will have a blast reading the man's POV chapters. The world building in Dreams of the Dying is intricate and meticulously built. I'm not kidding, the author has gone above and beyond to work with a professional linguist and cartographer to create a believable language and map. The detailed histories and different cultures of the world established so far here made my immersion when I'm reading the book even more powerful. Then there's also the magic system and users, Biomancer, Psychomancer, Dreamwalker, and more. There's just so much to unpack here. The Kilayan archipelago is beautiful, huge, and get this archipelago is only one small part of the world that Liet Zhao has created. There is still so much more to explore, and I cannot wait to read more about them. To say that I enjoy reading this book may be an understatement here. I love the author's prose so much. Every line, every sentence was just delightful to read. They were all delivered with impact at the right time, and no page ever felt wasted. Liet Zhao covers philosophical and thought-provoking passages skillfully. The emotions of all the characters were so palpable, and my experience of reading this book was just so vivid. It truly felt like I was there. My immersion was so high. It can be hard sometimes to write a non-confusing and also captivating dream sequences in a fantasy novel, but the dream sequences that the author has painted in this book was just so haunting. I don't think I can ever forget the dream sequences that I've read here. They're incredible. Every philosophical discussion plays a part in enriching the characterizations and also the narrative. They weren't there just to be highlighted. They actually play a part in the story. I won't lie, the novel can be pretty bleak and depressing at times. The tackling of mental illness in a fantasy novel will, more often than not, will always result in a heartbreaking and bleak narrative. But Dreams of the Dying is also embedded with hope, love, and redemption, and I cherish them all. There's a lot of food for thoughts and discussion in this book, and maybe one day if I have the time I would do a video discussion about it in more detail. Lastly, this review is long enough already, but it would be incomplete if I don't talk about the stunning production value, the cover art, which is one of the best cover arts I've ever seen, and all the interior artworks are illustrated by Dominic Darrow. Do check out his portfolio, I'm going to leave a link down below. Johanne Krunes is in charge of the cover layout and design of the book. And speaking of design, Liet Zhao did an interesting thing with the format in some pages to elaborate upon the state of mind that Jaspar experienced, and I think this is very clever. The only two other occasions where I encountered such a clever usage of formatting were in the Nevernight Chronicle by J. Kristoff and the Wounded Kingdom trilogy by R.J. Barker. Now, let's talk about the hardcover edition that comes with the exclusive content. The hardcover edition featured a 100 pages illustrated appendix at the end of the book. This bonus content consists of chapters that heighten the quality of the world building. I'm going to list them here. First, an essay on the history of the Kilayan archipelago and the Illumined world. Second, a short geographical overview of the Kilayan archipelago. Third, a bestiary of the archipelago's native creatures. Fourth, a guide to Makehu, the language spoken by the Makehu people, designed by a professional linguist. Fifth, a Nerimis Taylor's impressions of Kilayan fashion. Sixth, a lecture on oneromancy, which is dreamwalking. Seventh, the Great Umbra and the Resurrection of the World, which is the creation myth of the Makehu. This one in particular was amazing. I highly suggest you read them. 8. Pencil sketches of the characters as envisioned by another in-universe character. 9th, an overview of the 7 Lightborn, the pantheon of the Illumined world. And finally, To the Moon I Say Farewell poem by Jaspar's sister. The hardcover is indeed more pricey, I won't lie, but well, you know what they say, price is quality, and I think this one definitely merits the prices. I am fortunate enough to be given the hardcover to read and review, but to be honest, even if I didn't get it, I would have bought the hardcover edition because I don't know how to resist illustrated edition. I am so weak to them. I'm so weak to illustrated edition. But let's conclude this review now. Whether it's exterior or interior, this is a superbly crafted novel. And I think Dreams of the Dying is a must-have and must-read fantasy novel for any fans of adult fantasy, especially if you love morally grey main characters. I think you will have a great time reading this one just like I did. Every sentence is supplied with brilliance. Dreams of the Dying. I have nothing but praises for it. This is simply a masterpiece. At the time of posting this review, Dreams of the Dying has an average rating of 4.78 out of 138 ratings and 66 reviews on Goodreads. That is impressive, and I personally think it is utterly well deserved. There is no cliffhanger here, and the book worked absolutely well as a standalone, but it promises more storylines to come in the next books, and I cannot wait for them. The ending itself isn't actually explosive, but you know what? I cannot stop thinking about it. You can't run from your own mind, and my mind cannot stop thinking about this book. It is amazing. Read this book. I highly recommend this. That's all from me today. Please, I suggest you check this book out. It is truly fantastic. Let me know whether this book fascinates you or not. I really hope that my review can convince you to give this book a try. As always, thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.